Mastering what you fear is one of the most fulfilling experiences life has to offer. Facing your fear is what builds you as a person. It makes you into someone confident, competent, and courageous. Facing fear is a necessary part of growth. But today's society promotes comfort and easiness, and we can get away with not facing what we fear. This becomes a habit which leaves us helpless in face of fear and risk. This video explores 4 ways to start facing and managing your fear in order to make courage your new habit. Fear and anxiety are composed of 2 things: how likely you believe an outcome to be and how you think it will affect you. When we have an irrational fear, we overestimate one or both of these elements. If you're afraid of flying, you may think that the odds of being involved in a plane crash are high, whereas in truth they are lower than being struck by lightning, choking on food, and being involved in a pedestrian or vehicle accident. Or you may be afraid of a personal or professional rejection because you judge it as a bad thing. But really, the only thing to fear is not trying, as it impedes your personal and professional development. You should always ask yourself how likely what you fear is actually to happen, and if it really is that bad. You can also prepare for the outcome you're afraid of by focusing on what you can control. Preparation will give you confidence and will decrease your worry. By applying this process to your fears, you will understand that it's safe and necessary to do some things even if they seem scary. Sometimes this is enough to make the fear vanish altogether. Also remember that what you fear is often no more dangerous than things you do every day. You risk your life more by driving, walking around, and eating than by taking a plane. Safety does not exist. The very act of living is dangerous. Something could always happen. There are things around you that can hurt and kill you, and even your own body can fail. So don't be afraid of taking risks, because you're already always taking them. You are risking your life more by doing everyday activities than by doing the things you fear. You face danger when you drive, walk, eat, even when you sit around and do nothing. You're actually safer when you take a plane. Risk is always present. It's an inherent part of life. Risk is not something bad to avoid. It is something natural and necessary for living and especially for growing. Taking risks and facing what you fear builds you up as a person and makes you. It is a fundamental aspect of being human. In fact, every time you face risk and do something that scares you, you become better at it and at managing fear. By doing something that you fear, you gain competence and confidence. Your comfort and your competence zone are actually the same thing, and by expanding them, you become free of your mental limitations. Fear is your best opportunity for growth. Mastering what you fear is one of the most fulfilling human experiences. It shows you what you're capable of. Once you start doing and getting good at things that you're afraid of, you understand that you are not as limited as you believed. So how can you actually expand your comfort and competence zones? The mythological knight doesn't train by going immediately into the dark forest. A knight trains for the dark forest, first as a squire, then with mannequins, then against an instructor, and finally in tournaments. The knight stays at the castle for a long time before entering the dark forest. Thus you should stay in your comfort zone and gradually stretch it. You must train at the castle before venturing beyond it, not carelessly force yourself to enter the forest right away. When you learn to play an instrument, you can't start by playing a fast piece at its regular speed, because it is outside your competence zone. You start with a slow tempo at which you can play each note right, and then you gradually increase it. As you become competent playing in one tempo, you can start playing a little faster. This brings you outside your comfort and competence zones bit by bit, gradually stretching them until you can play the whole piece at its regular speed. A fear ladder works similarly. You expose yourself in little increments to something that scares you until you overcome your fear completely. The first steps pose a low challenge, while the next ones are mildly to highly scary, at least at the moment. But as you take the first steps, the next ones become less scary and less challenging. At each step, your competence and confidence grow. Once the knight returns from the dark forest, the dangers he has faced and the experience he has gained make him ready for adventures of greater epic. The dangers grow, but so does the knight. Mastering what you fear makes you stronger and readies you for greater challenges. The courage you build leads you to quests of growing importance. Which leads us to the most valuable tip to face fear and build courage. Focus on what is important. If you're doing something that scares you or that is dangerous, there must be something important behind it. Focusing on the importance of what you're doing gets you through the task, no matter how dangerous or scary it may be. This can also be applied to when you unexpectedly find yourself in a dangerous situation. Keeping in mind what is important to you can switch your mindset from panic to calm. For instance, when you are in danger, the people you love can be a powerful motivator to find a way out. Going back to them becomes your only goal, a deep and visceral one. When your mind is set on what is important, it stops panicking and thinking catastrophically, and instead starts solving the problem. What is important to you is your most powerful weapon against panic and towards courage. Fear points the way to many great rewards. In folklore and mythology, treasures always lie beyond dark forests and terrifying beasts. The hero finds the treasure after facing fear. So you must not think of fear as something to get rid of, but as your path to greatness. Fear is your greatest opportunity. Mastering what you fear is one of the most fulfilling experiences life has to offer. It is by being afraid and overcoming that fear that you grow. So make a habit of dealing with your fear in manageable ways. As you manage your fear, you build courage and you grow. And as you grow, you become capable of facing greater challenges and of greater accomplishments.